Artificial intelligence is reshaping our world. Currently, it is changing how we predict the weather, how we detect diseases, how we access loans, or produce music, but even how we fight in wars. More and more frequently, artificial intelligence is deciding what we buy, what we watch in the evening when we are tired, but even who we interact with on social media. And this is why we must ask ourselves, whose word is this artificial intelligence reflecting? AI is no longer just a tool. Right now, it is a decision maker. It is influencing healthcare, it is influencing the justice systems, the hiring processes, and now it's starting to enter our organizations and influencing how our governments operate. And then we must ask whose perspectives, voices, and experiences are represented in the data that trains these large-scale AI models. Are we leaving some voices out? Well, indeed, when these models take decisions, or for example, predict the probability that one word follows another word in a given context, they're not thinking like us, they're not thinking like humans. They're just repeating patterns, patterns that they have seen in their training data sets. So the questions become, which data goes into these AI models? Well, think about all the digital traces of our world, everything you can find in the internet. We have news, articles, blogs, scientific papers, but also videos on YouTube, on TikTok, or social media interactions, comments to pictures, messages between people. All of this is feeding these AI models. So in a way, artificial intelligence becomes the mirror of the culture that produced the most digital content. But this content can carry forward past inequalities, for example. It is characterized by certain historical patterns. So the model can also carry forward these inequalities, even if it's not coded to do so, just because they were present in the data set they were trained on. I am an AI expert, and I work in one of Europe's leading supercomputing facilities, which is home to Leonardo. Leonardo is a supercomputer. It's located in Bologna, and it's currently the 10th most powerful supercomputer in the world. And we have it here, just behind us. You can see a small part of Leonardo here in this picture. And Leonardo is a technological marvel. It can perform 240,000 trillions of operations per second. By operation, I mean 2 plus 2. Okay? In 1 second, the number up there. And to put that into perspective, do you know how many operations in total are needed to train models such as those behind ChatGPT? Do you have any idea? It's this number down here. I cannot even read it. I know it by memory, but if I have to read it, it's confusing. It's 10 to the power of 23, 10 to the power of 25. We have this range depending on the model. So this is why supercomputers have become essential for the future of artificial intelligence, because we cannot do this number of operations on a normal computer. It will take hundreds of years, sometimes thousands of years, okay? So we need supercomputers, and this is why supercomputers currently are being built everywhere around the world, and they require megawatt of power to be in production. So in the past years, I had the chance and the opportunity to experience the training of this type of models on Leonardo. And I got to think about the importance of data democratization, bias mitigation in datasets, and fair representation. And what really strikes me is how arbitrary and sometimes trivialized the decisions around datasets are made, are taken. Who decides which content should feed the training of an AI model that is going to be used everywhere around the world? Who? Who decides what's good enough? Who decides what good means in this perspective? And let me tell you right now, the answer has been, well, we don't really care. So we just collect everything. But collecting everything doesn't mean collecting fairly. It means just to collect what is most popular, most available, and sometimes even most biased. And this is really how one of artificial intelligence's greatest power, which is the ability to learn extremely complicated patterns from massive amounts of data sets, also becomes the greatest challenge. Because you can imagine that the vast majority of data on the internet is in English, for example. We are Italians, but in general, as speakers of non-dominant languages, we should be extremely aware that these models don't fully understand our culture. And I'm not talking just about language, because language is shaped by historical events. It represents perspectives. These models don't understand the nuances of our cultures because they didn't see enough of us in their training data sets. And this is fine. We just need to be aware of it. Okay? If there is an experienced user that applies critical thinking to the output of a model, it's okay. They will recognize the problem in the output and eventually correct it. But right now, these models are used also by organizations, and they don't always apply critical thinking to the output. They sometimes assume that the output is neutral and correct, and this is an extremely wrong assumption. So if AI cannot fully grasp local knowledge and the specificity of our voices, what is the future of cultural identities in the digital era? What's going to happen in the next years? As AI systems become more and more prominent, and they really are involved in educational tools, or even on how our search results are shown on the web pages, then we can imagine that the risk is extremely serious, that the smaller voices are not just underrepresented, but they will be erased. Cultural knowledge, local knowledge, and local nuances of our experiences could be flattened, and then the smaller voices erased. Indeed, the problem of underrepresentation is strictly connected to the problem of gender equality. For example, I'm just stating one of the problems. If we ask ChatGPT to take a picture, to create a picture of a doctor in a hospital, 99% of the times, it will output an image like this one. But doctor in English is a gender-neutral word. Okay? And I didn't tell him what to do, I just told him a doctor. Okay? And it's a white male doctor. This model is used everywhere in the world. But we can give ChatGPT the benefit of doubt and ask, for example, to depict a lawyer in court, or a manager in a meeting room, or a politician reading a newspaper, or a professor in front of the university. And surprise, surprise, the output is always a white male man. The professor always has the glasses. I'm telling you, it's incredible. It's incredible. The question is this what we want when these models are used by students learning concepts? Is this what we want when they are used by organizations taking automatic decisions influencing our lives? This is what we have to be aware of. And the challenge we face here is not just technical, and from the technical perspective is a pretty hard challenge. But it's ethical, it's social, and deeply human. We need to rethink completely how we create these data sets, how we validate them, and what are the metrics to have them feeding an AI system. we need to accept that in the world there are data-rich and data-poor areas. Think about the global north versus the global south. But even within the same countries, the data availability changes dramatically from urban regions versus rural areas. And this we need to take care of if we want an AI that speaks for everyone. As AI developers, we must confront a hard truth that the mostly used models right now are developed by a handful of private companies, often sitting outside Europe, that might not have these kind of problems of social justice in their priorities. Okay, so we need to take charge. We need to develop models that reflect the values we want to protect. As users on the other side, we need to be aware of the limitations while we benefit from the incredible opportunities that this model offers, because that is the truth. They make tasks easier, faster, sometimes even possible. So let's use them, but let's use them with critical thinking. We should never assume that the output is correct and neutral. So the future of AI is not just about better algorithms, more powerful machines, supercomputers, and megawatts everywhere around the world. It's about ensuring that artificial intelligence is a voice of everyone and not just representing the loudest voice. And to do so, we have homework to do. So AI is already shaping our future right now, but I believe strongly that we still have a choice to make the future that belongs to all of us. Thank you very much.